Gotcha. So on that note, you're an Ableton guy, right?
Yes.
And so between Fruity Loops and Ableton, I guess there's two perspectives. Which one do you think is better? And why do you use Ableton instead of the other one?
FL sucks. So note that down. No, I'm just kidding. FL has a really good graphic user interface. It also has not been available for Mac for most of its time, which I've always, for the most part, produced on MacBooks since 2009, or done any recording music stuff on Mac. So even though I had a copy of it early on, I quickly moved over to Reason, and then I moved to Logic, just trying them all out. And then I settled on Ableton at the time. And, you know, a lot of things have caught up to Ableton, but when Ableton, you know, like 10 years ago or whatever was out, it did have a lot of features that other, like workstations just really didn't have. It was so easy to time stretch things and just makes stuff sound crazy, and it was really advanced for the time. It still, to me, is pretty advanced, and there's still stuff to figure out. So I think Ableton's definitely my favorite.
Ableton's the way to go then.
In my opinion, but FL's now on Mac, and so you can kind of decide for yourself. You can do the demo of either one, but I think FL is a little easier to get into, and Ableton's just got a little more going on in the back end where you can kind of get a little more advanced if you want to. But the design of Ableton, the way it looks and everything, is definitely not the most pretty to look at.
No, yeah, I think Fruity Loops does have more of like a cool factor.
It's a lot smoother as far as its user interface.
Yeah, and it's like dark theme by default. I don't think Ableton is, which you really need to
It's like it's like a light gray, yeah.
The worst software color. But yeah, definitely agree with you on that. I like Ableton. There was a recent Apple, I don't know what you call it, like Apple demo, where they just released a new processor and a new Mac model, and they had some engineer from Ableton as part of that, and they were talking about how they're going to utilize that new chip. And I feel like if they really do pull the trigger on all the things they said they were going to do, Ableton could like absolutely obliterate FL Studio in terms of what it's capable of doing. But you know, FL Studio could always catch up as well. But
it's very possible. We definitely need the audio software industry to really stay on top of those things, because we definitely we definitely rely on those progressions and new technologies to up our craft as well. So I know like when they released the M1 Max, everyone was freaking out about that, and like so lots of stuff wasn't working. I got my new MacBook and couldn't use any of my Isotope plugins when I got it because they hadn't patched it for the newest OS yet. So I had to do their workarounds and like all this stuff just to get the plugins to work. So ideally we would try to avoid that.
Yeah.
Going forward. So I think that it's very important for the tech companies to also work with their audio, the audio industry on keeping everyone on the same page. So we're not, having driver issues, software issues, these types of things with new technology coming out.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm a bit of a tech nerd, so I can say Apple is kind of hard to keep up because every year they keep releasing like this new thing that completely changes the whole architecture of how the software has to be engineered.
Definitely, yeah.
And so like they come out with these new processors and they're like, all right, we're not going to make another computer with Intel processors ever again. There's this whole new processor that's completely different, and now we're just going to just do this from now on. And so sorry, developers, you just kind of have to deal with it. But the good news, I think, is that they're going to stick with that for a while. So we should see some more stability in the music software ecosystem. Don't quote me on that.
That would be nice.
All right. So